Over the years, I found myself getting locked in with books. The pandemic happened and I became an entrepreneur, or at least tried to become an entrepreneur. And I realized quickly that I didn't have the mindset necessary, or needed, I should say, to actually accomplish my goals. So what I did was I started to pick up books. And Think and Grow Rich was one of those first books that I read because I'd heard so much about it. It was the Bible of mindset and financial literacy, that and Think and Grow Rich. But as the years went on, I realized that reading was a gateway to the knowledge that I needed when I needed it the most. Now, I understand that reading takes time, it's time consuming, right? But you should be able to pick up a book, flip to a random page, and get information that applies to your life in that exact moment. That's what this video is about. This video is about those books that you can just pick up at your low moments and you can take something away from that page. And I'm gonna get this list of books started with one of my all-time favorites, and it's by Ryan Holiday. The Obstacle is the Way. So I read this book a few years ago for the first time, and I actually listened to it on audio. I didn't even have the physical copy. And what stuck out to me was his lack of emotion, right? He wasn't really compelled by emotion. And it's this concept called stoicism. And stoicism essentially forces you to look at everything objectively, right? So if your world is on fire, you can look at it like, oh my God, my world is on fire. Or you could look at it as, all right, the world is on fire. I probably should put some water on it in order to douse the fire out. This mindset is important because if you're looking to build something of worth and of value, you're going to find yourself on a roller coaster. You're going to find yourself having those down moments and not knowing what the hell to do. And when you feel overwhelmed like that, we tend to get in our own way. When you're in your own way, you can't see past yourself. So practicing stoicism personally has allowed me to pour water on the fire and get out of my own way sometimes. So I highly recommend reading this book. You'll learn how to turn your low points into opportunities and use obstacles as trampolines to get to new heights that you've never reached from reading a book like this. I also like it on Audible as well. So if you're not really much of a physical text reader, pick this one up and really lock in with Ryan Holiday because he's going to get you right. The second book, I actually just read this one recently, like a week ago. And it's an older book, and it's by Roger Fisher and William Ury. It's called Getting to Yes. And this book is actually a business book, and it's about negotiating. But what stuck out to me the most in this book was it was more so about psychology. It wasn't really about, business analytics, numbers, trends, and it's also an outdated book. And the biggest takeaway that I got from this book was there's two parts to business, right? You have the relationship and you have the business. And a mistake that we all tend to make when we're entrepreneurs is the business and the relationship are kind of tangled, right? So if someone says, nah, I don't want to buy your product or service, it's kind of like, screw you. I'm gonna move to someone that does want to work with me, right? But that's not how it should be. When you separate the business and a relationship, you find new ways to work with people. And maybe you just need to make a creative offer for this specific situation. And this creative offer is going to stretch you. It's going to help you build and grow. And it's also going to satisfy the other party. You should look at things as you're working together on a problem as opposed to, I'm the service provider. You need my help, so take my help. That don't really work, especially depending on the personality type. And sometimes as service providers or entrepreneurs, we got to help people to see that there's a problem to begin with, right? And then we have to magnify that problem because we have to increase urgency and let people know, bro, this problem is ruining your life. How can you afford to not have a marketing strategy with all of these leads out here? You're just missing leads day in and day out. And as a result, you don't have any money to spend. So I understand you don't have money to spend on my services, but you also don't have money to keep doing what you're doing. So how can we potentially work together to where I can help you and to where you can actually earn money? You see how we do that, right? We're both on one side of the table and the problem is over there. When you do that, you can kind of go in on a problem and magnify a problem and ultimately get to the yes. Number three on the list is one of my favorites. But before I get into number three, I want to encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe on this video because this channel is all about helping entrepreneurs to grow, level up, and get where you need to be. And it's coming from a person that's in the rat race too. And the reason I call it a rat race is because nowadays it's necessary to be an entrepreneur. It's necessary to be a service provider. You think you're just going to be able to work a regular job and be successful and happy? Hell no. So with that being said, I'm coming with an approach of these are my personal experiences. This is what I have done in order to grow. And here's what, I can offer to you based on my experiences. Like, comment, and subscribe because that's some real shit. And I don't really know how else to put it. Back to scheduled programming. Number 3 on the list is the 10X rule. Now, this book, I read it for the first time in 2020. Yeah, 2020. It was right when the pandemic first began. And funny story, I started out in real estate, right? And I was wholesaling real estate. So basically, I would just get a homeowner to sell me the rights to their home, and I would sell it to an investor. And I would just, collect a profit off of the middle piece, right? I didn't get any deals done whatsoever. But I learned a lot from that business. And one of the things that I learned while in that business came from the 10X rule. Grant Cardone speaks about working hard and actually getting in more reps than majority of people are going to get in. And he speaks about it in a way of like, yo, you're going to get results if you do 10 times more, which I don't really agree with. I don't agree with a direct correlation, if you get what I'm saying. Because I did thousands of cold calls. I spoke with investors. I went to events. I did everything you can imagine. I spent money and I never got a deal done. But what I did get was experience. I got knowledge. I got understanding. And ultimately, I grew as an individual because I followed the 10X rule. And that's one thing that you'll learn from putting in that level of effort in that amount of reps is that sometimes the result isn't always direct. You may be trying to close the sale time and time again and not close the sale, but all those reps that you put in, that helps you build the level of understanding. That helps you to develop your patience. That helps you to develop the grit necessary to take a no. Because in business, taking no is not easy, especially when you're first starting out. You feel like a fraud. You feel that imposter syndrome like, bro, I did everything right. I did this right. I did that right. I listened more than I spoke. I took notes. I found a deal that the shoe fit. Why did they say no? And that shit fucks with your confidence. You feel me? Because if you do everything right and you don't get a certain result, now your confidence is shot. But when you look at it from that angle of, maybe you're not going to get the direct result, but you're going to get the pieces necessary to get to the result. A book like the 10X rule, you really can't go wrong with this book. It's also pretty freaking funny as well because he's an asshole, and he's going to let you know about yourself. He definitely is an insecure nigga trigger. He's going to bring those insecurities to the surface, but Grant is going to let you in on the secrets to becoming wealthy, ultimately. And now we move to book number 4. So this one, was, it was tough because I'm like, damn, I want to throw Think and Grow Rich on there because Think and Grow Rich, it's one of the all-time great books, right? But I wanted to bring one that people probably haven't heard of or is not publicized like the Think and Grow Rich or the Rich Dad Poor Dads or the 48 Laws of Power. I wanted to bring a sleeper. And it's funny, it's a sleeper because it's a 4-time bestseller, New York Times bestseller. But this book is by John C. Maxwell, and it's called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. I'm actually reading this book now, so maybe there's some recency bias in why I put it on the list. But this book has helped me to become a leader of myself and of many other people. Many people, because I'm still involved in the fitness industry. I'm actually hosting a fitness challenge right now. I got clients, and the business is doing better than well. And I'm learning principles from this book that I never really considered. And most recently, he spoke about being a leader. People naturally follow a leader more than they follow themselves. And if you think about it, it makes total sense. You're watching a YouTube video, right? And you're hearing someone else's perspective because you feel like maybe your perspective, it's a good one, but it can be even better, right? So you look to other people and you never look to anyone lesser. You never look to anyone that you're like, bro, I can't learn from this person. You never look down. You always look up, or at least eye level too. And he said people always, eventually are going to follow the leader. But in order to be followed, you have to build that foundation of trust. You got to deliver value to the people. You can't take the shortcuts. Once you build the foundation of trust, it's okay to make mistakes in your service, right? So let's say you watch this video and you don't like the fact that I just said you don't believe in yourself, so you're watching me, right? But you're probably still here because I've delivered a certain level of value. I've already given you 3 books that you probably haven't thought to check out, so I've delivered that value. My character is solid. And that is the ultimate lesson so far that I've learned in this book, is that character is more important than anything else. As long as you got good character, good integrity, and good intentions, people are eventually going to follow in your lead or follow your direction. Now, as we wrap this video up, I want to let you know that it's okay if you're not much of a sit-down reader. You don't have to be able to sit down and read a book cover to cover. Bro, I'm reading 20 books at any given time, and I'll just pick up a page and just spend 2 to 3 minutes reading a page, and I'll close that joint and probably don't open a book up for another month or 2. And that's fine. It's fine because books have so much valuable information that it might not click initially, but you're going to be able to fall back on it. Knowledge is power, but applied knowledge makes you invincible. So what you want to do is you want to build as much information in this noggin and in this soul as possible. And ultimately, when times do get hard, you're going to have something to fall back on. Does that make sense? All right. So we're going to get out of here. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Yo, this channel is going to just be filled with gems for entrepreneurs that are looking to build up their mind, their soul, their spirit, in order to build sustainable businesses that are going to get them to where they want to be. And again, the reason you want to subscribe to this channel is because it's coming from the horse's mouth. It's coming from someone that's actually grinding as well. And I don't hold anything back. Last but not least, click that link in the description of the video if you're looking forward to working with your boy. And I'm out.